Welcome to the Big Four Accounting Firms podcast, brought to you by big4accountingfirms.com. So it's just been crazy couple of days uh, from the E&Y announcement that Project Everest is over, and now E&Y is laying people off. And turns out there's even more news slash lies on top of that. Previously, E&Y said that they're going to be laying off consultants. And then now it turns off, no, it's going to be more than just consultants. It's going to be audit and tax, but it'll be people that are underutilized or have excess capacity. And that's why they said that they're doing this. Turns out that they were actually already going to do this, but now that it just happens to coincidentally coincide with Project Everest being called off, and that the expenses from Project Everest actually have nothing to do with these layoffs. And not sure anybody believes that. And if there was a case study in how to fail as a business leader, this E&Y example here from Project Everest is a real doozy. Is how you really fail as a business leader. The way that E&Y has gone about dealing with this, not only the fallout from Project Everest, but the corresponding employee morale that they have destroyed, is just crazy. And then the lies. And what's even crazier is that the executives are saying that there's going to be bonuses and raises and all that, despite Project Everest being called off and an economic downturn. And so I would caution people at E&Y that, don't get your hopes up. It seems like everything is up in the air. You don't know with this management team what to believe and what's a lie. First it was Project Everest definitely going to happen. There's more opportunities. There's way more opportunities staying with the firm. We told you guys to stay with the firm, but too many of you stayed with the firm through this. And so we're going to lay you off. But it actually has nothing to do with Project Everest. It just so happens that we announced them both at the exact same time because we burned through too much money and we need the money. So it's just lie after lie. And the way they're messaging this, the way they're handling this is epically bad. And people with common sense can see what's happening, but management chooses to use political speak to skirt around it. I don't think they know what they want right now because they were laying people off, but they also are trying to tell people to stay, and it's a good firm. I guess obviously for the clients, they want to go to market saying that things are great, but I think that the executive team is in chaos right now. They're trying to manage expenses. They're trying to manage the brand, and then something's gonna drop one way or another. But I also wanted to talk about something else. I guess I wanted to talk about KPMG. KPMG CEO came out and said something, and I'll address that in a future podcast. But I was thinking previously that, why this is crazy, what's happening. Maybe KPMG will surpass them. but then I quickly did away with that thinking because KPMG has a way of shooting themselves in the foot. And so I don't think KPMG will surpass E&Y, but because I don't think at the end of the day this is too big of an impact on clients, because clients don't really see the big four as like differentiated. They see them as cogs in a wheel and you can replace them all. So I don't think when people are going to be like, oh, I can't do Project Everest, therefore let me go to KPMG. I don't think anybody in the market's saying that. And so it would have to be a terrible, terrible year for KPMG to surpass EY in terms of revenue. Now, net income for the big four, we never get on a global level, so we won't be able to see that. But to think that KPMG would surpass it, then it would be a terrible year. It would be a terrible year. But if that happens, then there's going to be a lot of partners or people at EY that will get fired, that will lose their jobs because the things will be that bad that things aren't getting accomplished, excuses are being made. And you have to remember that there's people that are in front of the camera for EY, like Carmine DeCibio and Julie Boland and others. But there's also people behind the scenes that can rally political support and get rid of these people if things get bad enough. And I think we're probably pretty close to there based on the messaging that's come out of this. I haven't seen too much out of Carmine DeCibio either, so it'll be interesting to see what happens from that perspective. But it's been a terrible week for EY. It's something needs to happen with regards to the management team. But again, this, as far as it relates to people in the Big Four, for those of you out there interested in your careers, you can't put all your faith in partners, and especially senior partners, because they're just not trustworthy. And I'm not saying a blanket statement 100%, but a lot of them are. It's just very political. The nature of working at the Big Four, they're just used to a lot of smoke and mirrors. And you always have to be owning your own career. And a lot of the Big Four tell you this too when you work there. You have to own your own career. You have to seek your own path. You can't put everything on these people. But also, you have to look out for yourself. You have to make sure you're utilized. And I say this, I've said this over the years, no matter what. Because if your utilization dips below the metric they want you to be, then you're up for this year is going to be layoffs. But in other years, it's performance plans. And then from there, you have a year or so till you get fired anyway. So as long as you're meeting the metrics that people want you to meet and the revenue's coming in, you'll be okay. And that's the way you should look at it. You shouldn't trust a partner that's selling you a rosy picture until they deliver on the results and promises that they make to you. And the lie after lie from E&Y partners over the past, 6 months is astonishing, and it should open people's eyes up. But the bickering from other firms, which we'll discuss in a future podcast, is also terrible. And we'll go into that in a future podcast. But wanted to discuss the E&Y news, and it's very interesting time in the Big Four accounting firms because of this E&Y split, but also because of the economic downturn. And we'll have to see if it's the repeat of the financial crisis or if the Big Four are going to change things up, because who knows what's going to happen, because there's a lot more regulation of the Big Four accounting firms in the background than there was during the financial crisis. And so we'll see what comes of that. But make sure to subscribe to this podcast and check out the show notes for useful links. Thanks for listening.